All right, so now we're going to do something from straight from northern Italy. It's actually called cutlet alla bolognese. So it's a dish from Bologna, and that I was fortunate to try over there, and it was just phenomenal. So some of the restaurants actually they own dairy farm, and the concoction that they've come up with to cook veal cutlet is amazing. So, and this is basically the way that I say do it over there. So I know like you can go to your grocery store or local butcher shop and buy the veal cutlet already cut out without the bone, thinned out, and ready to be basically cooked. So right there we got a genuine, beautiful veal cutlet, basically. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to leave the bone in, but I'm going to part it just a little bit away from the bone on both sides. But I'm still going to leave the meat on because the way that we're going to cook it is so good that people just love to like take the bone, even in a nice restaurant, and just chew on it. So that thick part right there, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take my butcher hammer and I'm going to tenderize it just like that. Now, if I see that there is a little too much fat, I'm going to trim the fat off with a silver lining. That's coming off right there. You don't want that. Otherwise, the rest of it looks pretty good. You need a little bit of fat, a bit everywhere. So I got this done. So now you take a piece of paper and I'm going to actually beat it up. Okay, so what I'm doing that, and the reason why I'm using the parchment paper is so basically it doesn't stick to it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take some butter, I'm going to heat it up pan, medium heat, and I'm going to put some butter in there. So this is like a very rich dish. This is one of those things that it's absolutely delicious to eat. You can eat it year round. It's not very seasonal, but let's say that it's so good that we're going to do that. So now we're going to add some chicken broth. We're going to add some cream, light cream, and actually the way that it's served in Italy, they actually use what's called light surface cream. So the surface cream is that right after that you actually milk a cow and you put it in the centrifusion, you'll see actually the centrifugal will separate the heavy cream. The light cream is actually on top, and we skim the light cream, and this is basically a dish that's done just like that. So what I'm going to do is that I'm also going to cover it with like Parmesan, Reggiano, and it's salted. So I'm not going to add some salt, but I like to add some pepper. All right, and I'm not using salted butter. It's just regular butter, but we need a pretty good amount. And what I'm going to do is actually, while this is like getting ready, I'm going to coat it with some egg yolk very well. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my breadcrumbs and I'm going to coat it in breadcrumbs. No flour. This is the way that we do it, the Bolognese way. And it's not going to take long to cook. And then we're going to talk about the wonderful side dish. So you're going to lay it just like that in there. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add some chicken broth to it. And also, I've got some light cream that I did use yesterday. Also, to make some pasta mixed with chicken broth, and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to coat this thing right over it. I'm going to put my prosciutto all over it. I'm going to take more light cream. I'm going to mix it right in there. And I am going to take my Parmigiano and generously put it all over the veal, the prosciutto, just like that. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to cover it, and I'm going to put it to cook on another stove, just like that. So this is a very rich dish, and I know that by today's standards, a lot of people do not like to eat dishes like this. It's just people are more health conscious, but again, it depends on what country you're from, or even if you want to diet for a while until you eat like dishes like this, it's just not made for diets. But so there is light cream. There is, obviously you can tell that it is it's not an heavy dish to eat. It's very rich. So it's very Christmassy. Let's put it like that. So what I did to serve alongside of it in some of the restaurants that I went to when I was in Italy, and I think it's very appropriate to actually serve that right next to it. I did some tortellini, and I cooked them in chicken broth instead of water, and I put a little bit of like salt in there. I mean, I started with I think it was like 40% of sodium into my chicken broth, and so basically you cook very al dente. So you remove, if it says for 10 minutes for the tortellini, cook them maybe for 8 minutes until you get al dente, and that is if it takes 10 minutes on the writings in order to make it al dente. Just shave off 2 minutes, and then after that, on the side, I actually cooked some in light cream, some mushrooms with a bit of parsley in it, some black pepper, and then after that, after 8 minutes that it took actually for this tortellini, I took them out with my spider, and I finished them for 2 or 3 minutes on the light cream, and not on high heat, on very low heat. And that's the ticket in order to come up with absolutely delicious, and I mean delicious. It's absolutely to die for, especially when you start adding up the mushrooms, a little bit of parsley, black pepper, and like I said, I went lightly on the salt, and I don't like to cook with a lot of salt to begin with, but obviously to make a good dish good, you have to taste it, and then you just add the salt and the pepper in order to make it to create like a pretty good dish, and that's that. So now this is absolutely delicious. It's not going to take long at all. And another thing that I like to do, because we're cooking the mountains, is that I like to take some, thinly cut slices of wild boar sausage, and just like put them all over the place, just like that. And just add a little bit of thinly sliced radishes. Just like that. A little parsley. And then here you go. One more time. We got the flag of Italy. We got the yellowish of the cream. We got the green and we got the red. One more time. This is what we're doing. Since we're cooking Italian food, I like to include a little bit of that in there. So let's see what we got. Here we go. So now, as it is, just like that. Basically, it's done. It doesn't take long to actually make the dish. And I add a little bit more shaved off Parmesan right on top of it. And then that's the way that I would serve it, right there. So obviously you can tell that that will feed at least 2 people. But you got to be careful because it's so good. And I mean to tell you that it's so good that I would suggest to cook a little more of it, because once the people start tapping and into that and biting into that, they'll want more. It's one of those dishes from Italy that is absolutely delicious. And I had to do it for Christmas. So on this note, this is part 2 of the Christmas dishes that I would do. Very, very opulent. It's full of flavors, absolutely delicious, that it doesn't take an expert to actually do it. It's just a matter of like sequences. The butter, and you put the prosciutto, and you got to make sure that you don't burn the butter. That's why you add the milk, the light cream. Actually, and I will put all the stuff on my comment, on all my recipes on the comment. But like if you add the light cream as soon as the butter is actually melted, and you don't see that, it's avoiding the butter from being actually starting to burn on the side. And this is like what you want, because otherwise, like any sauces that you're going to do, as soon as it start burning, it just like puts like a different taste in there. Unless it's something that you do, like you add some ash oil in purpose. This is not the kind of stuff that you would do that. So that's the way to make a cutlet alla Bologna, la bolognese, and it is absolutely to die for. And enjoy the Christmas dish, and then we'll see you with another dish for Christmas. Goodbye.